Hi guys, before we get started I want you to have at least a rough idea about what a TAS is. If you don't, then I have a link in the description which might help you to understand. But if you already know about TAS or you rather want to learn it from a first-hand experience, then stick with me and we can just go on. Because I have prepared a starter pack for you so you can actually become a TASer yourself in a matter of minutes. You will also find this in the description below. So what is the starter pack about and how do you use it? Let's jump into it. Okay, let's have a look at what you get from the download. You will get the emulator, a controller plugin for TAS inputs, and the STROOP software which lets you see memory values during your emulation. The only thing that you will need besides the starter pack is the actual ROM that you're going to TAS. So before you follow my steps, make sure you already have a file of your preferred ROM version on your PC. Keep in mind that this whole setup only works for Super Mario 64 ROMs and hacks of it. Once you got your ROM and the download from the description link, you will then have everything you need to create a TAS file. Let me show you how to get ready. So here we are at your desktop, and once you got the download file, which I have right here, you're gonna need a couple more steps for the installation to be done. And the download is a compressed folder, which means you want to extract this. Just click on extract and extract the folder. And once you've done this, you want to enter this folder. Here we're gonna enter. So there are two things. The first one is the STROOP software, which we're gonna leave right now. So we skip this right now, and we want to enter the other folder. There is two things again, and the bottom one is the TAS input plugin. This is you want to copy this file right here. So just click on copy. So you have this one, and then you want to start the installer of the emulator, and I'm gonna run as administrator just to make sure. You might be prompted a password here, but you should have this if this is your PC. So yeah, there's another folder. This is the installation folder. So you have now installed your emulator. Here it is. And there's the plugin folder. You want to enter this one, and here you want to paste the copied file in. And once you've done this, you can now go ahead and open the emulator. So now we can set up the emulator, which we do by options and settings. And now you can see the input plugin. This is the standard one, but we want to change this. And as you can see, there's the TAS input plugin. This is the file we just added to this folder. And if you don't paste the file into this plugin folder, then this option won't be showing up here. So if you don't see this, then you know this is because you don't have the input plugin into the folder. So just go ahead and click on this. So this is basically all you need for this part, but you can also go ahead and configure the input plugin, but this is only necessary if you want to play with a controller. So if you have a controller connected to your PC, this will show up here, and you can map the buttons accordingly and use your controller for semi-TASes or just for fun playing and recording and stuff like that. So There's also the video plugin. This is not really necessary to change, but I personally prefer the last one right here. And that's about the plugins. So we now go ahead to directories, and if you look at the emulator, you see there is nothing showing up here. And we want to change this. We want to have games showing up here, and so ROMs basically. And you want to add the directory of your ROM. So just make sure you know where your ROM is located at, and then just put in the path right here. And as you can see, this will show up every ROM that you have in this directory. So that's about it. Now we have the games. We could basically start now, but we also need hotkeys. So those two, general and advanced settings, you don't have to change anything. Just skip those and go over to hotkeys. And hotkeys, we're gonna need 2 of them, which is the frame advance key is very important. You want to set this to anywhere you can access. And the toggle read only button is also needed. So you want to make sure you have a frame advance button and a toggle read only button. And all the other stuff you can just, this is up to your preference, so you can map every button you want, it doesn't matter, and those also don't matter on which key they are, of course, you can map every key you want. Just make sure you have those 2. And once you've done this, I'm gonna use a pause button. Once you've done this, you press OK. And this is basically the setup. So if you have done all those steps, you're now ready to TAS actually. So, but there's one more thing. So if you close this up, so you can now, every time you want to TAS, you just start Moopin, and this will be set up as you just did. Okay, but there's one more thing. We want to backtrack to the STROOP folder that we left out before. We want to enter this, and there you can see the STROOP application. You want to start this, and as you can see, this will show every emulator you can connect with, which is just the Moopin that is open right here. You want to connect, and the first thing I would recommend you to do is to go to the options tab here and see if the ROM you're gonna play, let's say we want to play the U version of Super Mario 64, make sure that the country code here does match the ROM version that is chosen in this thing, in this particular option here. So this is the U version, this is also the U version, so we're fine here. We can now go back to the Mario tab, and I would recommend you to just stick with the Mario tab here, so you don't get confused with all those other things here. I don't even know what they do actually. So for beginning, I would just recommend to stick with this one, and that's completely fine for the start. So you have the U version right here, and you're gonna click and run it. And as you can see, it now starts the game, and here is the controller plugin popping up, and this is your controller, and there are all the buttons, and this is the stick and whatnot. This is very intuitive, so you know what you want to do. And this is basically it for the basic setup. So every time you want a test, you just want to start Moopin and then start STROOP, connect STROOP with Moopin, and then start your game. And that's about it. So let's summarize what you need to do in order to set everything up. You want to make sure you put the TAS plugin into the correct folder and that you've added the right directory for Moopin to find your ROM location. Choose your preferred video plugin and the TAS input plugin. Set up your hotkeys, especially the frame advance key. Run the ROM you want to TAS. And lastly, open up STROOP and connect it with the emulator. Now everything should be running and you're already set up to create your own TAS file. The only question left is, how would you do that? So let me introduce you to the basics. Okay, for simplicity's sake, I have closed up STROOP for now because we don't really need this for the actual recording. And I've also chosen a location in the game that we want to record from. So to record a movie, you want to pause the emulation at the place you want to start. Then you want to click on Utilities, Movie, and Start Movie Recording. Then this window will show up and you can browse the location of your file and give it a name. So let's say we just name it My TAS and save. And now you can also choose where to start your recording from. And if you choose from start, then the whole emulation will reset and start from the very beginning, like the power on. But this is not what we want here in this case, so we want to choose from snapshot, which is referring to the snapshot you're just looking at here. And yeah, we choose this and click OK. And as you can see, the recording is already starting. So if we go ahead and let this play a little bit like this, and we pause now again. So you see now there are numbers on the bottom here. So and the number in brackets is the actual frame counter, which tells us how many frames have passed since the very beginning of this recording. So we've already recorded a couple frames now. So now remember the all-important frame advance key. We're gonna go ahead and click this, press this key now, and if we press it, look at this number here. The number goes up by 1 each time I press this key. So the frame advance key just makes the emulation advance 1 frame every time you press it. So that way you can kind of control the pace of your emulation. So now let's go over to the controller window here. This is pretty self-explanatory, except for one thing. You can check all those boxes here with your left mouse key, and this will obviously refer to a button in the game. And those buttons will be held as long as they are checked in this thing here. You can also clear all the buttons here at once with the clear button. And now here comes the trick, which is you can check every of those boxes with the right mouse key instead of the left. And if you do so, you can make the button not hold but spam. So for example, we are taking the R button here, which is the camera, and we spam this button right now. I will advance 2 frames now, like 1 frame, you see the button is gone, and 2 frames, the button is there again. So it is pressed and unpressed on every other frame. And if you continue to advance some frames, you can see that it will always press and unpress as fast as possible, which is obviously 1 frame. So we clear this. You can even clear a button if it is checked with this right click method and is just unpressed at this state, at the state of you when you clear it. So the clear always clears all of those boxes, even if you can't see the check. So let's let the camera reset a little bit, like this. And now there comes the next of our tools, which is save states. So we want to just make a save state right now. I just pressed the hotkey for saving on slot 1. And we now have made a save state right here. And this means that everything in the recording up until this point is now safe. So whatever we do now won't affect what happened before this point. So let's say we walk into the lava right now and we don't like this. We don't want this to be in the recording. Then we just now load our save state that we just made and press the frame advance key. And now we're back on this spot, and everything we did before, like the camera stuff, is still in the recording. And you can also see this by this number right here, the frame counter, because the further you are in the recording, like if you walk a little bit, you can see it's like 170 or something. And then you go back to your save slot and load it. And now you advance, you see you're below 170. So this is kind of the time measurement of your movie. So you can always know where you are in time by looking at this number. Okay, so let's start our movie. Let's say we just want to reach this brown platform over here where the big bully is. And that will be the goal of our movie. So we go ahead and like walk around here, try to make it to the other platform here. So let's say we made it and we're fine with this outcome. Then we just wanna save again because we want all of this to be in the recording later on. So we saved it, and I noticed that I saved it on slot 2 this time. Because we have 9 save slots available, and I would highly recommend you to use all of them if you can. So whenever you want to save, which should be often, you should save on another save slot if you have a free one. Only if all of them are filled up, then you can obviously cycle over to the last one and overwrite them over time. So yeah, that is up to you, of course. But I would recommend just to use all of the save slots if you can. So yeah, we are here now. And let's see if we screw up now, like we ran into the flames. We don't have to go back to slot 1, which is here. We can now just load save slot 2. And we are now back on this platform. So we can just start over from this place and don't have to do all over again. So let's try to advance here. Just wanna jump here. So, really high jump, maybe a dive jump even. And remember the trick with the right key, with the right mouse key. This comes into play right now because we want to do a dive recover on this platform when we land. So I just checked this box with the right mouse key. Then we advance 1 frame. And now we check the A button box with the right key. And this way, if we advance a couple of frames right now, you see that it is alternating between A and B on every frame. So no matter which frame we land on, we will still do the perfect dive recover. So look at this, there is no dust. This means that there's no delay and no decrease in speed, so this is the perfect dive recover. Also, we just succeeded with something, so we just wanna save again. I'm just saving on slot 3. As I said, I'm increasing the slots. So 1 and 2 is filled up, and now I'm saving on slot 3. So this is now done. We now just wanna enter the platform. Let's say we wanna do a double jump here. This is like one jump and another jump. Maybe we just make it. Okay, barely. So we're on the platform. Or just let's make it a little bit cleaner, okay? So we walk here, we jump a little bit, and we jump another time with another angle maybe. So this looks promising. Yeah, that's fine. We are now on the platform. This is what we wanted to end. What our goal was. So we are now basically at the end of our movie. However, if we end it right now, then there's a weird glitch that Mupen sometimes, or very often rather, cuts a few frames off of your recording at the very end. So this means that we might not end up on our goal platform, but somewhere on this gray platform right here. And we don't like this to be cut, so what we do is we just want to add a couple more of input frames on the end of our movie, and that way we can make sure that even if it is cut, that our recording is still not affected from this bug. So we just added a couple frames right now, and we now just click on utilities again, movie, and stop movie recording. And you see the recording is now stopped. And now you've made it. So this is basically your very first TAS file. Okay, you've made a movie, so you obviously want to watch it. To do so, you click on Utilities, Movie, and Start Movie Playback. Then you browse your file and open it. And before we go on here, I want you to make sure that this box here is checked. You want to make sure that your movie opens in read-only mode. This is very important, and I will explain this in a bit, but for now just make sure that this box is checked. And then we can go on now. So we press OK and we unpause the emulation, and we will see what we just recorded. So a little bit of camera snapping, then we walk by the spoolies, do the dive jump, dive recover, double jump, and then we reach the platform. So that is what we recorded. But it's important now to know that this is not a movie. So like it is a movie, but we didn't watch a video kinda. We watched actual gameplay that was emulated by this emulator, and it was played by a file that we recorded. So we didn't record a video, but we recorded all of our inputs that lead to this performance here. And those inputs are being played back by the emulation to like recreate the whole thing that's happening here. So that is the important difference. And what's so special about this is that we can now, since we are still in an emulation state, we can still use all the tools that we have with this emulator. So for example, we can use the frame advance key to watch every single frame of the movie and like watch the inputs and stuff. All the inputs will be displayed in this white box right here. And those are the directional inputs that are, I think they are displayed in percentage or something. That's not very useful, but the buttons will be shown here, and those can sometimes be pretty important to be aware of. And the next thing is we can actually use our save states that we made. So we can now load up a save state, but the important thing here is you have to be in read-only mode for this to work in a way that you can just use it as a breakpoint thing. So if you're uncertain if you are in read-only mode, you can now press the hotkey for the toggle read-only mode. And if you press this right now, you will see that in the bottom screen here, this says read-write mode for me. And if you press it again, it says read-only mode. So if you see the read-only text at the bottom screen, then you're fine. You're in the right mode. And if you're in read-only mode, you can now load up a save state, which I'm doing right now. So this is save state number 1, as you remember. And if we let this run from here, you will see that the movie just plays as we did it. So there's nothing missing or different or something. It's just kind of a breakpoint in the process. So we can, for example, load up save state 2 and watch the whole movie from this point on. So we don't have to watch the beginning to this point. So we can just use a save state and watch the movie from that point on. And we can also do this in frame by frame fashion. And another thing is we can actually make save states. Like for example, we want to pause here and we don't want to watch all the stuff from the beginning again, so we want to just save here. I'm saving on slot 4 right now, and we can now load up the save state 4 and we're always back at this position. So wherever you want to save, you can just set a save state and then load up, and you skip all things that happen up until this point. So that is pretty useful for watching movies and stuff. And the next thing is if you make a TAS file or TAS movie, you obviously want to have the time. So you do this most times. You do this for speedruns and stuff. So you definitely want to have the timing of certain actions. And if you to get the timing, you do not want to use the frame counter this time, because it's not very accurate for the emulation time in real time. So for timing your stuff, you want to use this left number right here, this other number, which is the VI count, and to get the real time off of this, you want to take this number and divide it by 60, and that way you get the real time measured in seconds. And this time then you can compare with other runs and stuff, whatever you want. So that is how you get the time. Just take this number and divide by 60 and you get the time in seconds. So that's about that. And you could now let this file run to the end and the movie will be stopped. But you can also just stop it whenever you want and click Utilities, Movie, and Stop Movie Playback. And this will stop your file or your the emulation of your file immediately. So, and that is basically how you watch and use existing files. So that is one of the key things to know about TAS files and using that stuff. So keep that in mind. Good, so far so easy, right? But what if you want to continue to work on an existing movie? That is also very easy. You just open up the movie you want to work on. But before we do this here, I would like to teach you a little trick that hopefully helps you to make your file management a bit cleaner in the long run. So let's say you want to use a different strategy in the movie we just made in order to see if you can improve the time. In most cases your file is pretty valuable, so you don't want to mess around with it and risk on losing your progress. Therefore you need a backup copy of your old file, which you then also can compare to the new file in the end. But if you just copy your file, you have to use a different name for it, and here comes the issue. Now if you remember, we started our movie from a snapshot. And in that case, the emulator has to somehow store information on where this snapshot or starting point is. And it does this by creating a save state right at the very beginning of your recording. And whenever you open up a movie, just as we do here, then it loads up this save state and then plays your input file from that point. So where is this save state? It's right in the same folder here, but we have to reveal it by clicking all files, and it will show us all the files here. So you will see there are ST files popping up here, and those belong to their movies here that have the same name. So our save state would be that one, and this other movie save state is this one. And here's a third movie that is a full run. This starts from the very start of the emulation and not from a snapshot. And in that case there is no snapshot needed, so you don't need information on where to start from, because it just starts from the very start. So if you have a movie that starts from start, you don't need any save state to play this. In all the other cases in where you have recorded your movie from a snapshot, all those movies, if you want to share them with other people, you always have to make sure to give them the ST file as well. So you always need both of those files in order to watch the movie. So you can't just give someone the M64 file without the ST file. The other person won't be able to see this movie. So always make sure you have the according save state to the movie. So you always need both of those files. Yeah, but back on track, we just copied our movie here, and now you see the problem here, because we have one save state that refers to this movie here, but we have now two movies with different names, so actually two different movies, you could say, but only one save state. So what do? The thing is, we can't run our second movie here because we don't have the starting point. There is no save state for this file. So you could now think, okay, I could just copy the save state and rename it the way that this is named, but that is actually just the thing that I want you not to do, because that is a very bad thing to do, because you just copy like the same thing and spam your computer with the same data only with different names, so this is not very optimal to do. So instead I can teach you a little trick, and this is very, very, very easy. You just rename this file and use the same name that the save state is, which is my TAS, and then after you have that name, that same name as the save state, after that you just put in a little dot. Just add a little dot to the name, and then you can put whatever you want at the behind the dot. It doesn't matter. So I'm pressing enter here. So it doesn't matter what the name behind the dot is, because the emulator, when it runs this file or tries to run the file, it only reads the first name up until the dot appears. So you can put whatever you want behind the dot, it doesn't matter. It just needs the first name to be the same as the save state you wanna load from. So you can actually add multiple dots. It doesn't matter. You can do like version numbers or something here. Look at this. You can do multiple dots. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the thing. So you can actually add different names and whatever, however you want to call your files, by adding dots and then change the name after the dot. So that's the trick basically, and we could now do this for the original file as well. We could add a dot 1 here. So now we know this is the first movie and this is the second, and they both use the save state, the same save state that the first movie was made from. Okay, so that is how you copy files efficiently without messing with the save state file. But always keep in mind that you always need the save state in order to play the movie. So if someone goes wrong, if someone gives you a file and they tell you to run it or watch it or whatever, and you can't start it, it's maybe because they forgot to give you the ST file as well. So just keep that in mind. It's handy to know this error. So yeah, now let's move on to the main action. So you just wanna change a movie that already exists. So we have now one of our movies, or the copied movie, which is the same as the other one, of course. But we now wanna mess with this file, so we wanna change it. And to do so, we open this. Obviously we want to always run this in read-only mode, so just check the box again. Then you just play the file, and once your movie is running, you then have to decide for a frame from where you want your new movie to start to change from the old. So what this means is you have to decide which parts of the old movie you want to keep in your new movie. So let's say we want to still reach the platform here where the bully is, but instead of walking all the way here over those platforms, we just want to go the direct way and just jump over here and go to the lava and jump then. And yeah, so what parts of the old movie can we still use? We can only just use the way the camera snapping at the start, and we can use Mario walking up this hill here and maybe walk up there, and that's it. So look at this, we can go up to like this point, and from here on we have to branch off. We have to go right now. We can't go the same way that the old movie does. So that will be our starting frame. So we just make a save state. We save on slot 4 now. And once we have a save, we can then press the toggle key and switch from read-only mode to read-write mode. And once we're in this new mode, we can then load up the file or the save state. And once we loaded the save state, this is basically like a new movie. So you can think of this as a new movie. Everything you input now will be recorded. So we can now just walk around, do different stuff, and this will be in the new movie. So everything that happens up to this point is from the old movie, but everything we add now is will be the new movie. So also I would not recommend to load older save states, because there's a high chance that you will mess up with your recording here, and this is not very good. So just if you're about to override an old movie like we just do, then I really highly would recommend to only use new save states from this movie. So don't load up save state 2 or whatever else from the old one. Just make new save states every time. So okay, let's just make our way over there. So we just walk here and make a long jump. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we reached the platform. Great. So we now do another save state 5. And then we proceed to just walk over here. And let's do a ZB kick thing into the lava to see the jump glitch on the lava. And then we reach the platform that we wanted. And let's say this is our goal frame. So like, let's say this is the touching frame that we want to touch the platform. We can now also see the time down below here. So we also we go with the VI count here, and you see there's a 6 something, and the old movie reaches the platform at like 7 something. So we already improved on the time here. We can already see this. And yeah, this is the end of the second movie. So we have the new movie now, and we now just add a couple more frames at the end. You know the stuff, just to be sure that's not cut. And once we did this, we are very good. So this is the new movie. We can now then stop it and watch what the new outcome is. So we just open up the second movie and watch it. And here's the difference. The start is the same with the camera. We walk up here, and now we branch off and do something different. So that is it. So I'm now closing this again. And that is how you branch off from existing movies. And for a better understanding for you, I want to do this stuff one more time, but without all the explanations, so you can see this in one go, basically. So to change a movie, you want to open it, open in read only, browse the file. So we want to change on the second movie this time, but obviously we don't want to destroy it, so I want to copy it, paste it, and change the name to dot and something else, so .3. Now we have a copy of this movie. We can now open this, as I said, in read-only mode, then press OK, open the movie, and now this time we will be going the direct way, because this is the second movie, so there's no chance to get somewhere else. And let's say we wanna, let's say we wanna watch this again. Let's say we wanna branch from this point, and we're doing a new save state. So I'm saving here, then I'm pressing the toggle button to toggle the mode to read-write mode. And since I'm in write mode, I can now load this. And this time I decide for not go for the platform, but to change the direction and try something else here. This hopefully works. Okay, barely. Let's see if we can get it. Yes, we get it. So I'm saving again because I achieved something here. Then we want to go up. And maybe we can do it. Yeah, barely. Okay. Then we want to just enter the volcano here with the dive. And we have a completely different ending now. So we are in the volcano, and I'm adding a couple frames to it at the end because we wanna be sure that this is not cut. Okay, good. So this should do it. Now we're ending the recording. Stop recording, and that is the new movie. So let's just watch it. Read only, open movie 3, and you see there's a completely new movie, but the start is the same, and it's now a hybrid with the start from movie 1 up to this hill, and a bunch of movie 2 up to this other platform, and then we got the new thing. So let's just watch it. Camera snapping, walking up here, jumping over here, and then getting over and enter the volcano. So this is how you change existing files and existing movies to have different outcomes. Okay, so I'm stopping this, and yeah, we're done here. So this is how it works. So for those of you who just tuned in right now, here's a little checklist to summarize the steps for branching off of existing movies. Before you mess around with your files, think ahead if you need a backup copy of it. After that, you can start your movie in read-only mode. Then you go to the point where you want to branch and set a save state there. Then you switch to read-write mode with the toggle key. Then you load up the save state you just made, and remember to not load any save state that is outside of your movie's timeline. Then you can progress as if this is a new movie, and when you're finished you just end the recording and your file is done. Also, here's a picture to confuse you a bit more. This shows all of our 3 movies we just made, and the blue line symbolizes the 3rd movie we made. So this is where we combined the 2 movies before to get one movie that has parts of each timeline in it in the end. So maybe this picture helps you to understand this whole timeline thing. So now that you know all about making TAS files and how to use them, I can finally show you a small example that also utilizes the STROOP software from the beginning. So as a quick reminder for STROOP, when you start this, you want to go to options and see if your version matches this option here. And if it does, you want to go back to the Mario tab, and most times you will be sticking with this window. So back to the example, I want to open a file in read-only, of course, and it is this file. And let's imagine someone sent you this file and they wanted to make a speed run or something, and they want to perform a certain trick, but they just can't do it. So they struggle to do a trick, and now they ask you for help and send you the file so you can look over it and probably fix it. And that's what we're about to do here. So we're about to change this person's movie here, so this means we want to have a backup copy, obviously. So we want to copy this and paste it, you know the deal. And we want to use the same save state, so we have to rename it to dot something, let's say dot fix. So now we're using this file. We want to open this and let's just watch it. And before we watch this here, I want to make a quick save state here, so we don't have to restart the movie every time we want to watch it. So, and let's see what this movie is about. Okay, so we see the problem is quite obvious. This person wants to skip this door here, but he doesn't have enough speed to do so. So as you see, he is talking to the door instead of clipping through. So we go back to the start, and we want to branch off from the BLJ somewhere. Yeah, so let's skip to like maybe this frame here. So let's make another save state here, and now we want to overwrite the movie from here. So we wanna press the toggle key for read write mode. Then we want to load our save state, and now we are overtaking the action, so we can now control Mario here. It's now our work. And now we can have a look at STROOP here. So if you look at all those values, there are angles and positions and speeds and whatever else. But the most important thing here is the H speed, the horizontal speed of Mario. And STROOP here shows all the values that appear in this exact frame that you're looking at. So if I skip to the next frame, you see the numbers will change. So every frame has their own value. And now we see that Mario reaches the door, and I want to do this again. I'm going to do one more jump here. So we see Mario reaches the door, and we see how much speed he has. So he has like 220 speed, so about that. So before we try to make this door skip, before we do this trick, we first have to know if this is even possible. So obviously we know it's possible, but let's say this would be a new trick and never before done trick, then we wouldn't know if this is even possible. And how would you find out? So you know it's something about speed, so we need much speed to do this trick, but we don't know how much speed we need. So to find out how much speed we need, we can now use the STROOP software, and we can now just double click on the value that we want to check or change, and now we can enter a number. So double click this, enter a new number. So let's say we want to put 300 speed in, and now if you press enter, this is the new speed, and this overrides the current speed that Mario has in the frame. And if we do so, we now have 300 speed, and we can see if 300 is enough to clip the door, and we see it is enough. So we are behind the door now. That's what we want. This means we want to have about 300 speed or more to skip the door. So, but the problem now is you only hacked in the speed. So this, what you see here won't be in the movie, because you know your TAS files, your movies, they only store all the inputs that you do in the controller window here. And you didn't do this this speed hacking in the controller window, so this won't be recorded in the recording. So when you play this movie and you hacked in speed to clip the door, it obviously won't do this hacking and will just play your inputs, and by the inputs Mario won't get enough speed to clip the door, so you will still not clip the door even if you did here. This is just for testing, so you can input different numbers here and see what happens in the game, but this is all just for playing around and testing stuff. This is not for making movies or something. So we go back to the beginning here, and we see if we can somehow squeeze out another long jump here. And we see we are at 250 speed something, so we need one more BLJ to exceed the 300, and we see we can just barely do another long jump here. And now we are at over 300 speed, so we should be easily be able to skip the door here. And if we see, we do skip the door, so it's just perfect. So we tested if the trick is possible with the artificial values here that we put in, and then we try to replicate those values that we know that work with the actual inputs. So this is how you sometimes, not every time, but this is how you sometimes work when you want to find out something in the game, or see if a certain jump can be done, or any distance is enough, or the angle allows for certain actions and all that stuff. So that is the quick example. I want to just show you how to use the STROOP software. So we're now about to end this movie, and now we can rewatch the movie and see that we actually fixed the door skip. So that's why the fix is here in the name. So okay, now we open this, and now we watch the movie, and you see we skip the door. Alright, so that is all that I can teach you about this, but there's plenty of more stuff that you can learn and do. Also, I'm pretty sure there are even better tools out there by the time you watch this guide here, so I highly recommend you to join the SM64 Discord, where you can find out about new tools and more recent knowledge. In addition to this, you will find task competitions and other projects there to take your new superhuman skills to the test. Just give it a try and join the community. New people are always welcome. And finally, if you enjoyed this guide here and you want to see more of my content in general, then you should follow my link in the description that leads you to my other YouTube channel, because this video here is supposed to be my 100 subscriber special, which at the same time also marks the end of this channel. So in order to keep supporting me, you should head over to my other channel and have a look if you find something of your interest there. And with that said, thank you all for watching. Gani D, over and out.